question real quick. You know, this is off the topic, but I want to talk about football real quick.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my dad yesterday, you know, chilling with him. And he was saying that his whole theory about the Eagles situation is he said that he don't think that Wentz is hurt. He thinks that they're benching him. You know what I mean? And they're saying that he's hurt, you know, because he wasn't put on IR, you know, or not like that. And, you know, they just don't want to kind of embarrass him. We know about the strain they put in the locker room of Foles now, and a lot of rumors around the locker room that Wentz wasn't really feeling that too much. So do you think there's any truth behind, you know, the Eagles masking Carson Wentz being benched as him being injured?
I tell you what, if they are masking him being benched, and then we see all the spectacle with the whole thing in the locker room, they're causing some dissension in the Eagles locker room, and they're forcing that kid up out of there. And I don't know if that's a wise decision. If all of that is playing out, I will say this: a back injury, is a little different than a knee, a little different than an ankle, because at least with those kind of injuries, you can gauge in time when they'll be back. A back injury, there's really no timetable as to when he could be back. And I think maybe that's why he's not on IR, because he could be back for the playoffs possibly, and they don't want to throw him on IR and risk the chances of him not being able to come back. So maybe they're hopeful that he can come back, but they're also riding this, man. And Foles is real comfortable under the Philadelphia Eagles, always has been, even when he was there initially. Then he went to St. Louis and then came back over to Philadelphia. He's always been comfortable. He's doing this thing. He's slinging a rock, man. They always got a confidence with him, and they're going to let him ride that wave. But Carson Wentz is the future for sure. What do you think? Do you think there's controversy going on over there?
Absolutely. It's like you can't really – I mean, he may be the future in your eyes, but it's looking like right now the way the Eagles are playing, and we're not really talking about the Eagles. Everybody's talking about all these other teams, the Saints and this and that. But the Eagles just beat two of the best teams in the NFL back-to-back weeks. They just did it with Foles. Once again, we're seeing the same pattern develop as last year, and we're starting to see that the Eagles are better with Foles. And I think that my ultimate theory is that Foles is just a little bit better. He makes a little bit better decisions with the football. He's more comfortable. I don't think he's a better athlete, obviously, than Wentz, but he's obviously more poised, making better decisions, and he fits in that offense better, and he's winning games. And the Eagles are turning into a situation where they get lucky. Minnesota loses. They go out and destroy the Washington Redskins easily, like we know they're going to do. They go in maybe to Dallas or somewhere else, knock them off. Now they're in the battle. They're looking like, you know, they can go down to New Orleans or wherever like that and slip in and then you get Foles and he wins. Now you got two Super Bowl, probably going to get the MVP, two Super Bowl MVPs, two Super Bowl titles back to back. But Wentz on the bench is supposed to be the franchise quarterback. How do you not go with that guy? How do you not?
You're putting the wagon in front of the horse a little bit. We don't know if all that's going to happen. We have to wait and see. You still need some help. You're going to be a Washington Redskins team that's obviously probably the most pathetic franchise in all of football. But I've said that on air before, and I happen to be a fan, a very, very hardcore fan of the roster. Not hardcore, but I'm a fan of the Redskins. My family's from the Washington area, so obviously we got some loyalty and allegiance to them. But what Dan Snyder has going on over there is pathetic, and it just is what it is. As far as the Eagles are concerned, if you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. It's the same exact team that it looks like that was last year. It's the same people that's writing the team off. They're underdogs. You guys fit well under the underdog mode. It seems like you were flying under the radar, so to speak, when it came to being the head dogs on top, the Super Bowl champions. Maybe Carson Wentz felt a little bit of that pressure, not being out there and behind the center, leading the team to the Super Bowl, coming back from injury, the expectation being so wide, misses a couple throws a couple interceptions. Yeah. But he was hearing the whispers on a couple at first.
You gotta be able to make those if you're an NFL quarterback. I don't care who you are.
But does Philly give him are they not giving him enough time? You just were in the Super Bowl. He tore his leg up. I mean, you brought up a good point a couple of days ago when you said that Doug Peterson said that he may be a little bit injury prone. That's a good point. Came out of college, had an injury, a couple of years into the NFL. He has had a couple of injuries. That may be true. But are we sitting here saying that Carson Wentz, the quarterback that you gave up a lot for a couple of years ago, are you going to just let go in the next couple of years?
I mean, it's almost like, you know, it's a hard decision, but he wins 2 Super Bowls, you know, or maybe you can talk him out of not wanting to be a starter and sitting on the bench and getting his money, or other than that, you got to let him go. I think that you still go back to Carson Wentz. Logically, if I was the coach, that's what I would do, you know, but you know, if he gives you another Super Bowl, you know, then, you know, it's going to be a tough decision. The fans, it's going to be a lot of pressure for the Eagles to make that move and get Carson out of there.
Let me ask you, hypothetically speaking, let's say they don't go to the Super Bowl, but let's say they make a playoff run. They get into the playoffs. They go into the NFC Championship game. They get it close. They make it real good on Nick Foles' back. What happens then?
I think Carson comes back.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be very hard. I think it's like probably a 80% chance that no matter what happens, that Carson Wentz, you know, is going to be the Eagles quarterback next year, starting quarterback. But you know, with Foles, I mean, he's doing something pretty extraordinary, right? Once again, so he came in and really, it's a really good problem to have. It's not bad because as long as he can just play his role, which is to come in and them not miss a beat, that's his role, and they pay him for that. They'll be fine. But if it becomes a controversy, if Foles starts to get a big head and say, look, I want to lead this team, and I want to be the franchise quarterback, you know, for here on out, then it may be a problem. It may be a lot of pressure on Wentz. I don't know. I love Wentz, but he pissed me off missing those easy passes that anybody should be able to make in the NFL. It's like, come on, man.
And Foles dropping dimes.
Yeah.
Dimes. And yeah. I'll take it a step further. If the Eagles do, by chance, a cold day in hell happens for the second year in a row,
damn,
and the Eagles win the Super Bowl again, as wild as that sounds.
Right.
Whether Foles comes back, because I speculated he retires, whether he wants to take the Philadelphia Eagles, I think that alone would put enough pressure on Carson Wentz's back to possibly mess with that kid and get him out. May has to get him out of Philly, because that's too much expectation. You know how the fans are. He can't miss another throw. He has no more excuses next year. They're not trying to hit a back. They're not trying to hit a knee.
Facts.
If you guys win another Super Bowl and you got Nick Foles either retiring or sitting back into the backup role, cool again. This kid has no room for error, and that pressure may be too much for him. He may have to get out of Philly.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping, you know, as an Eagles fan, you see Fly Eagles Fly, that we go win a ring, and it'll be a good problem to have, definitely.
We'll see what happens, man.
Yes, sir. But you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Oh God, and SamAnt in the building, going hard on his Wednesday evening. Everybody listening on YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button and make sure you go ahead and share this video. All right, SamAnt, let's talk about this, man.